golden section, we're gonna talk about it today. I have a small patch here to show how it works with the different the section mainly, and the gold, the gesture controller. You can see the light here, hopefully, or not, through the cables. We will go through it without the cables also. The idea is that you're using, let's unpatch everything. I think it's more clear that way. Here, the goal, the gesture controller is very simple. It's a gesture controller, and it has an output. This knob here, I find it where it is right now to be the most interesting, because I can switch between two gestures, let's say, or two settings, we can just call them. Otherwise, if it's there, it's just one or the other one, one, the other one. The switch is very clear. This way is a little bit more organic, the way that it moves from one setting to the other one. So I like it there. I've noticed that when you have the knob on the other side, then it's that side that works. So the outside. But for the player who sits where I'm sitting now, it's probably more logical to have it the knob on this side, so you can use this side better. Further, the more complex module here is the section, which is a voltage sampler. The green are the two inputs. The two blue are the CV control, which doesn't really specify exactly what they do, but we will try some things out. And the orange is the output for the section. And you can use it very typically to modify or to modulate the oscillators, the pitch of the oscillators, or the pitch of the filter. So let's see, the most basic thing you can do is you can just say, okay, I'm gonna patch this, or shall we just patch this one? Yeah, the triangle output of this oscillator. And we're gonna sample that. And I want the gesture controller to tell me when I need the new sample, when I'm going to get a new value on the CV output. And the CV output, I will modify the frequency of this oscillator. And because these two oscillators are also FMing each other, this will create complex sounds, and you can switch between these two complex sounds. Now, we cannot hear anything because the filter is off, but we can start. You see already, if I'm moving that way just to play with the filter, I'm kind of changing the value of the sample and hold. That's already a good sound. So if I'm touching it, it's giving me that value now, and if I leave it, and when I'm approaching there, so that's a super organic way to play between two settings and with gestures, which is amazing actually. It's a great idea. And even though in the beginning it looked like, okay, what is this? It's just a small addition to the modules, to the instrument, sorry, to the Peterlin. This is actually makes a lot of sense to me now. And let's see what happens if we further send signals into the blue inputs, because that's a mystery. And because of the two oscillators playing with each other at such a deep level, modulating each other at such a deep level, It's hard to hear. Of course, you will get a different result when you send the output, let's say the square output of this one in here, or the triangle output of this oscillator here. But what I would like to do is to use the Benjamin, the Peterlin, the extra one that I have here. This is an extra piece. With the lowest setting, so that's like a null of faux setting, and I'm gonna use the triangle output for this one, and maybe a longer cable. So let's see how the patch sounds like. And now patching. That's very clear. Like you can hear the LFO changing the sound very clearly. What happens if I put the same signal on the other blue input? Let's see if we can hear any difference between these two. It's very hard to tell. It's very hard to tell because I'm also changing every time I go there. I'm changing the setting here on the gesture controller. And of course we have this knob here. It doesn't say anything, a perfect patch. It doesn't really say anything about this one on the website. Let's see if I open the filter and do not connect this cable. Let's see what we can do with this knob. And now, of course, you could hear that this knob is obviously changing the result. But I want to talk about something else today. I've had some conversations about the demystification of Ciat-Lonbarde instruments and if it's worth to know what they do. And of course, my opinion is very clear. Of course, it's useful to know what they do. But am I going to spend a lot of time to know what this does? Not really. I mean, this knob is more, let's say, simple the way it works on the gold section. Sorry, not to confuse it, on the gold module. Because you can see also the light, how it responds to your gesture. But this one, is it an attenuator? Is it changing the polarity of something? For me, it's a button that, a knob that changes the sound. So it's something to play with. So when I'm improvising with this instrument, this is something I will play with. Do I need to know exactly what it does? Not really. And I will not spend a lot of time. If I see it, somebody has really figured it out, I will definitely use it to my benefit. But it's about priorities, really. We are here to make music, right? So this is how it works. And obviously the LFO, it's also kind of very interesting that you can send another signal in here and have more movement in the sound. So now I'm wondering what happens if I send the other oscillator, which is also maybe a little bit faster, on the second CV input, see what happens. Is this the range of the sample and hold? It could be. It could be I'm getting more wide frequencies than with anti-clockwise setting. So this is a short tutorial about the gold and section, which is hard to combine because this is also a section, you can call it. But anyway, the gold module and the section module. And we have, of course, in the middle we have the Peterlin and another couple of the gold section. The whole game here is the interconnection of parts, and another Benjamin or another golden section to have a stereo rig is an amazing thing for me, because I do not want to send more FM on the same device, but it is more fun to have this Peterlin FMing this Peterlin and this Peterlin FMing this Peterlin, and I have more control on what happens. And maybe also it's a little bit more simple to understand what happens, and then have the gesture control and the sample and hold as extra controls. As you can see now, this one is completely empty, so I could use that for modulating the filter and or modulating something from this Peterlin. And of course, I'm talking about having this output and this output separately on your mixer and a little bit panned or completely panned if you want more wild results. But that would be harder for people who listen to with headphones. I do like it hard panned as well, but yeah, it's a matter of personal preference. I think extreme panning is more interesting when you listen with speakers because it fills a room and it's less dramatic, and sometimes with headphones could be too much, like disorientating. So I will just jam for just a short while, but I'm going to turn now this one on the output. And I'm gonna pan them, so just give me a few seconds to do that. While we're listening. as you could see or hear, I ended up at a place completely randomly where it's the playfield, like it's a playground. Like suddenly I have something that I could use with the controllers, and with small adjustments, that would be my starting point for recording. Like I arrived somewhere with not too much thought, but when I'm there, I will just record like long takes, maybe just improvising from this point, and maybe even filming it, because kind of know how this worked, like what was the setting when this happened. But it's not completely necessary. If you play with these instruments, a lot of times you start getting it. It's not completely out of your hands. I mean, the wrangler of this is modulating the filter of this, and the wrangler of this is modulating the filter. Keep it simple, although it looks complex. Now, of course, with the extra modules here, you have even more cables, but eventually it's not very complicated. Like this section is controlling the pitch of this oscillator, and I can make it even more complicated if I'm also modulating this oscillator and this oscillator, but I didn't keep it this way. This also talks about this demystification conversation, which is for a lot of people a little bit of a misunderstanding. Sorry. Demystification doesn't mean to know how things work. Or let's say it's not when you know the functions of an instrument, how the instrument works. I mean, you need to know that. Except with some even more obscene, more weird instruments where, like, seriously patching things doesn't really make a lot of sense if you know what's happening, because you don't know what's happening. It's completely chaotic systems, which you could just patch without thinking too much, which is also fun. It's also a fun procedure not to know anything about an instrument and start patching things, which definitely the Peterlin and the Golden section are definitely good for that as well. But it doesn't demystify anything for me. This is the mystery is in the unexpected results, in not knowing where the instrument will go. Like when I have a keyboard, I will just play a note and I know, okay. And if you have experience, you know, if you play these 3 notes, you make a chord, and with this chord, this thing, and if you change the sound, it sounds like that. This doesn't happen with this. Don't worry about the mystification of Ciat-Lonbarde instruments. I would just say be more careful and more aware of certain ways that people go with these instruments, that they kind of become like the main road where people walk on. Try to take the little road on the right or the left, the little strange path leading you into the wilderness, in places where you don't know what's going to happen. Just give it a try. And the stereo system here is, I think, how Peter would imagine this to work. With 2 Peterlins it works as well, obviously, but with the extra modules here, this is a great instrument to play with your hands, except from the cables and the knobs. And the last thing I would say is, imagine these instruments, I don't know, 3 times as big. Like, if this is like extended, it's like, you can't see it in the camera now, but like they're bigger. The knobs are bigger, and the gestures could be also bigger. That would be amazing. Of course, it would cost even more, but yeah, they are incredible instruments. Yeah. Okay, so I'll leave you with this long discussion, but I think it was useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.